right, let me tell you what's going on now. President Trump trying his best to drain the swamp, and much of that draining happened at the Environmental Protection Agency after the Obama administration left behind, get this, a huge toxic mess.
More than 1,300 Superfund sites, which are heavily contaminated, still require cleanup.
And apparently that's still just the beginning. EPA Administrator Mr. Scott Pruitt joins us live. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be back with you.
You know, the press made President Obama out to be the environmental savior, and yet when you look at the number of toxic dumps left on your plate, it's a big number.
Absolutely. In fact, Angela, you said these sites across the country have some of the, uranium and lead posing great risk to the citizens in those areas. And examples where the EPA just didn't take any steps at all. We have a site just outside of St. Louis called Westlake that has taken the EPA 27 years just to make a decision, not to clean it up, but just to make a decision on what should be done to clean it up.
Well, then that crosses Democrat and Republican administration.
Absolutely. And I think when you look at the environmental left, they looked at the past administration as an environmental savior. But when you look at air attainment in this country, areas of the country that don't meet the air quality standards, almost 40% of the country in areas that qualify there. 120 million people. We had Gold King in Colorado. We had Flint in Michigan with water. The Superfund sites across the country. The area that they focused upon, CO2 reductions, they struck out twice as far as regulations. The Supreme Court struck them down twice.
What does that mean for the folks that are watching? Does this mean you can get cancer if you're exposed to all of this?
Quite possibly, yes. And that's why it's so important to focus the core of the mission on those areas. I mean, this president is a doer. He's an action-oriented leader. The past administration talked a lot. This administration's actually taking steps to do things to clean up the environment. We're focusing on those areas that you mentioned, Anthony.
Well, it's cool. These Superfund sites that need to be cleaned up. What's your first target?
Well, we're very focused on Westlake. I was in East Chicago about 3 weeks ago, a site that has lead in it.
Do you know how to do it? Have you decided on a way?
We have a plan in place that we're going to announce very soon on Westlake. So it's very, very important to make those citizens know that we're going to take steps to clean it up and clean it up quickly.
Mr. Pruitt, we're talking about memos and what's happening in the White House. This is what the American public really needs to be focused on, right? Jobs, putting our personal safety, protecting our kids from cancer.
They want leadership, and this president's providing leadership in so many areas, and it gets lost in Washington, D.C.'s malaise in all these areas.
Okay,
exactly
provide
right.
leadership to do what with the environment?
Clean up these sites. Actually set a goal to say 1,322 sites is unacceptable. 27 years to make a decision is unacceptable. Let's get St. Louis cleaned up. Let's
How much is that going to cost?
Well, we have. The great thing about this is we have private funding. There are people out there responsible for these sites to clean up. The monies are there to do so. It's not a matter of money. It's a matter of leadership and attitude and management, and we need to do it much better.
When are you going to make a decision on leaving or staying in Paris, the Paris Agreement?
I think that probably after the president gets back from the G7, and I'm actually attending the G7 in early June as well. There'll be a decision on Paris. Very important that we make steps there soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be one of the big topics anyway.
That's exactly right.
All right. Great to see you.
Good to see you.